What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Thursday Night Tag Team Podcast. I am Big Mike, joined as always by Mr. U. Mr. U, how you doing tonight?
Doing good, man. Trying not to be stressed out about these Giants, man. I had to turn the channel.
Yes, sir. I understand that. Between that and the Yankees, I see the hat too, the playoff run there. I mean, I know there's a lot of stuff going on for you.
Went home just now, so I'm like, oh yes. ALE's gonna be domination.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's up, Sped? We're joined by Sped as well, as always. What's going on, man?
How you guys doing?
Fantastic.
Doing all right. And you will notice the screen's a little different. We are short one floating head on your screen. EC is down in Florida. So hopefully he's safe. We send our best wishes down to him. He is in the path of the hurricane, so hopefully he's battening down the hatches, getting ready for anything that may come his way. We definitely send our thoughts his way. Hopefully he's doing well, and hopefully he'll be back next week. So, I mean, they say it's the wrestling business. The show's still got to go on. So we'll still be here talking about everything in wrestling. SmackDown, Raw, NXT, Dynamite, you name it. We talk about it.
Let's get it
here on Thursday nights. And I mean, I guess we'll start kind of the same way we did last week. We'll go to the show furthest back from when our show happened last Thursday, and start with SmackDown, episode 2 on the USA Network. I mean, what you guys think about that? Yes, thank you. Sorry, thank you, Mr. U. I forgot all about our comments. Thank you, Lady Alpha, for joining in.
We should forget the lady. We just can't do that.
No, I got to her. I just got so into getting the EC in the intro. I forgot to bring it up. I'd have brought her up. I can't forget about Lady Alpha there.
We got a lot to talk about, so it's understandable. Let's go.
Yes, sir. So, all right. Thoughts on SmackDown from last Friday, episode 2 on the USA Network. Not a ton of stuff going on there. Mr. U, what do you think about the show overall?
I guess overall was fine. I'm still trying to figure out what the plan is. I kind of feel like, you got this big brand new launch out here, but you need to kind of complement it with some talent, bring some new people in or something, because the roster's always been thinner than Raw. But I still haven't figured out why that is when you have a draft every year. How SmackDown is so much exponentially small. It's small by like 15, almost 20 people small. I think if I'm not mistaken, I'm not exaggerating. It's somewhere in that area. It's always that much smaller. I'm like, you can do all this big grand stuff. You got to bring some kind of it's in the most positive way. That's some eye candy to the table to get people to watch SmackDown. They ain't gonna watch it because of that theme song, man. I'm telling you, that's not what's gonna bring them in. You know what I'm saying? Or making changes to the ring and the graphics. It's not people don't watch for that. Wrestling fans want to see wrestling. They want to see personality. They want to see in-ring grappling. They want to see mic promos. They want to see personality in wrestling. So unless you guys know something I don't know. Are they planning to bring somebody in? Are they planning to kind of upgrade the roster in some particular way? You heard anything? Because I haven't heard squat about it. What have you heard?
Not that I've heard so far. They may in the next draft, since they're talking about, and of course I did hear it's temporary, that they are going to go 3 hours with SmackDown. And that's why usually the Raw roster is so much larger, because they're supposed to be the extra hour, even though I don't know you get a whole lot more wrestling on Raw than you do on SmackDown. But that's normally the company reasoning behind the roster being so much larger on Raw than SmackDown, because there's the extra hour of television. But maybe with SmackDown going to 3 hours, maybe they'll bring some more people up from NXT. I mean, I would hate to kind of go and raid all of NXT for a ton of talent. Hopefully they just level them out a little bit, maybe.
That would be terrible.
For NXT. This is why I want EC to say something. I'm like, she's just loving this roster. I'm like, this roster's been depleted, man. I don't care what you say. This roster is depleted.
They got a great women's roster down there right now. I mean, they're growing. Don't get it twisted. They're growing pretty good, faster than what the men's are doing. But it's I get what Big Mike's saying. You don't want to bring all those guys up here already, because it's already thin. They're already on their thin ice down there in NXT. I mean, you can't bring up. I mean, Trick. You don't want to bring him up right now because he needs to keep going.
They pushing the ladies, and they should, but I don't know. I don't know about great.
They're better than what the men are doing.
EC be cringing and Steven mad right now if you heard me say that. But I'm like, I don't know about great. They pushing Kendall Gray and Brinley Reese and stuff. It's like we ain't at great territory. You can't afford to get them off in that roster. They need to stay there and develop and grow some more. And you know what? Some of those stars in there, NXT needs them. You don't want to call Trick Williams up. He's needed down there. Imagine if he's not there.
Oh yeah, it's
Exactly.
gonna be terrible.
It's only a matter of time for Ethan Page to get called up too. So it's like, and P Dunn down there just helping out for the most part. He down there contractor. You know what I'm saying? So it's like he can go back up at any time. It's like you need more people to come through there. They got some plans with Stephanie Vicker and maybe even Delta perhaps, but on the SmackDown side, who's coming through? You're going to 3 hours. I know that you're probably going to see potentially the Lucha Brothers and the Motor City Machine Guns, which I'm super excited about. I grew up as a big TNA fan too, so I'm totally into their work, and plus New Japan and stuff, so I know about the Luchas and stuff. But beside that, who else is coming through there? You got to bring some more talent in, and where's that coming from? I'm just kind of concerned about what that's going to look like. But
yeah, and I mean, there was the rumor that Hikuleo has now been officially brought in, and of course they're bringing him in NXT first before they bring him up to SmackDown. Something that they probably should have done with Tangaloa to let him get a few reps instead of just throwing him into the bloodline deep in. But that is kind of the rumor that I've heard, that he may be making his debut on NXT soon. So that's at least one other talent in there that's got some experience that can go in the ring. Maybe kind of give a little bit of a boost there until they decide to bring him up, maybe for War Games in a month or two. So there's that. You mentioned Delta coming in. We saw which we'll get to more on when we talk about NXT. You saw the promo at the end of NXT with Stephanie coming in and making her appearance. So, but I mean, there's definitely people you can bring over. I hope more what happened is more of a. Sorry, I just saw Herb's comment, but hopefully they just do more of a equaling, balancing out of the rosters. Get some of the people who necessarily aren't used on Raw, bring them over to SmackDown, which obviously there's people on SmackDown that aren't being used, and hopefully it goes more into that direction.
And don't forget about Nia and Bailey. Did we talk about this last week?
We did. We did. That's in my notes to talk about, and they did shoehorn a way in to not have a clean finish where nobody has to leave. But there is obviously tomorrow night, because we are on Thursday. This is Thursday, Michael. They are having a number one contenders match between Naomi and Bailey tomorrow night on SmackDown, which I know Mr. U thinks is going to end in a no contest, and it's going to end up being a triple threat. Anyway, I do like that they kind of pushed that out of that tag match to where it didn't come straight from that. At least now there's at least one more step to it, even if it goes to a triple threat, which I'll go on record saying I don't think there will be. I think Bailey will win the match, and I think it'll end up being Nia and Bailey for the title at Bad Blood. But they kind of backed themselves into a corner when they talked about somebody leaving SmackDown, so they had to do it in a way where you get this match in the end. So, Sped, what do you think about that? And I know we've talked about what Mr. U and I think is going to happen. What do you think will happen in that match tomorrow night?
I mean, I still think it's going to end up in a triple threat. I said it last week. I say it again. I still think it's going to end up in a triple threat. That's where they're pushing it. And if they're going to have Nia drop the title, then it'll probably be in a triple threat. I said if it would be in a triple threat. I mean, I was shocked what happened on Raw, so anything can happen right now.
It'd be a good story if Nia does drop it in, because that'll protect her, and that'll give her and Tiffany a whole lot more strife, because Tiffany still got the briefcase, so you never know how it's going to turn out, man. But yeah, and then I don't know much going to get to it, but we were talking about what the Street Profits. I mean, with the talent overall, they had the Street Profits, and who they tagging with? I guess the Bloodline again. Who's the same person? They are running out of ideas here. They keep recycling us over and over again, my man. Let KO live. Give him some of value to do. You can't keep doing this. This is. Oh wow.
Listen. The best part of that whole thing was DIY getting a 100% silent treatment. As soon as their entrance hit, you heard pencils dropping in that stadium. That's how silent it was. And then when the Street Profits came out, it got loud. So you know who's the real stars here. I mean, I get what you're saying. Copy paste. Let's stop doing that. Let's move on. Let's get some new competitors going. I mean, weren't they pushing Corbin and with Apollo Crews there for a little bit as a tag team? Let's get this going again. Let's get fresh faces out there, like you said.
Yeah, like we all supposed to forget about it.
Corbin's been going. At least Apollo Crews is getting. I guess you could say he's getting wins over Vinci. Yeah, they've been kind of fluky, weird wins.
I don't understand the storyline. I don't get this. Give him this big mind. Have him unless you're going to turn him into a raging lunatic where he just goes off and just starts killing people out here. I don't get what they're doing with Vinci. This is like.
I mean, that's kind of it has to be where it's going. That's the only reason I can understand it. Unless he's in the doghouse of some kind and they're just trying to embarrass him. That's the only way you can really go.
Why the doghouse?
Having him lose like that.
In the back before the match started, you knew they were already getting X'd out of the game when they got beat in the back and couldn't even come up to their match. That's why Street Profits was in the whole thing to start with. They put me DIY and they got smashed in the back. I'm like, wow. Wait, what a way to write them off. That's
exactly.
Wow, man.
We'll hit a few comments here before we go to the next spot in there. Lady Alpha has already kind of chimed in, but she does say hey to everybody. Her talking about Boys to Men Into the Road. We'll get to that here a little later in the show. You're not letting too much into it, but yeah, we do have some news later on. So, which we will talk about towards the end. Sped, apparently you're Xbox, so I guess.
Wow. So we're DMX or D generation?
I think he meant DX. I don't think he meant DMX.
Wait, hold on. Are we supposed to start
rest in peace.
DMX?
I ain't gonna start barking over here. Where my dogs at?
Oh.
Yeah. We found out where the dogs were at on Monday night, which we'll get to.
Hey, listen, that was messed up.
Yeah, whenever y'all ready, SmackDown is born.
So one more thing we'll talk about on SmackDown is the promo between Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. Shot, EC, big ups to EC. He mentioned it on the show last week before it happened that they were going to go this direction to play up, Roman's connection to Atlanta and obviously Cody Rhodes being from Georgia. He hit the nail directly on the head. So good on to him. I wish he was here to kind of pat himself on the back, but we'll do it for him. What'd you think, Sped, of the package in general? I know we're all not real thrilled about the tag team itself, but what did you think about the package, and did it make you any more invested in the team than we were beforehand?
No, but it made me more invested at the end where he said, "You're in the way of my life," basically of life, basically. That made me more interested in this third match that they're going to have later on down the road. That's just given that right there was just a great line that he threw out. I get it. They're, like you said, they're trying to build up the whole Romans went to college here, played football here, Cody born and raised here. But that last line made me want to see match number 3 more than I've ever wanted to see any other third match.
Mr. Hughes, do you feel the same way? Are you any more invested in the tag team after watching the vignette? Did WWE do its job with that promo?
I'm not invested in the tag team part because of that, but the promo was really, really good.
Yes.
I liked how they did it. I liked their banner back and forth. It was pretty smooth. Makes me excited about the match that they will probably potentially have to have. I don't see how you can avoid it at this point. So it has to happen at some point. We're in almost in October now, so I'm probably guessing maybe we get to the Rumble and that can happen or what. But yeah, Lady Alpha kind of hit on the head. I kind of had some goosebumps off it. I'm like, wow, okay. I had no expectations going into it. I'm like, oh, come on. Standing on the field, what's supposed to happen here? But it was really a good promo. I'm excited about the match they're going to have. I think it's going to be pretty awesome. Don't know how they're going to do it without bloodline interference, but let's go ahead and give it a try, see what happens. But it's probably going to ruin it. But yeah, this is going to be pretty cool. But as far as the tag team goes, I'm still in the same place I was before that. Let's go ahead and get past this part because we know this is not a short-term deal. Can't see this continuing. And you got people who are not cool with it, like KO. And who knows about the rest of the bloodline? About you with him now? So there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. This match is probably not going to be a clean match either for the tag team. So
Oh, I 100% agree that I don't think there's any chance that this is a clean tag match. I do like the fact that it will further some other storylines. I do like how KO is kind of reacting. You see the seeds of dissent a little bit more every week, to where he may turn on Cody, he may not. Hopefully he does that and then finally gets away from the bloodline. Maybe he goes into a feud after, LA Knight has a few more defenses. Maybe we get LA Knight and KO at the Rumble for the US title. I'd love to see that. This will obviously, feed the tag team match will obviously feed Survivor Series with Bloodline against Bloodline. I agree after that. Obviously I think the OG Bloodline takes the victory there. Roman can move on to the Royal Rumble and face Cody one-on-one, where I actually hope they don't have any shenanigans. I mean, it would be their first match they've had one-on-one with no outside interference. So I think that would actually be a really cool change and have a decent match, especially with Roman being more of a babyface now. I think that would just be a really cool change in position for the last two matches they've had. If it's just a straight up clean match, even if you have Cody go over, that's fine. And then they maybe shake hands out of respect after that. And then they go their separate ways into WrestleMania. But I do like how the different seeds are sown in other storylines based on this one. And that's one of the things that you see a lot with the Triple H era of booking, as opposed to Vince McMahon, where Vince McMahon's storylines were very straight line. This leads to this, leads to this. That's one of the bigger storytelling plot devices that Triple H will use big matches like this to further 3 or 4 other stories. So that's always really good. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I really enjoyed it too. Kind of the same thing you guys said. It was really very well produced. One of the best, produced packages that they've probably ever had, to be completely honest. And again, I'm the same as you guys. It doesn't necessarily get me surprised or I guess energized for the tag team match, but definitely for the following match between Cody and Roman going forward.
Yeah.
So, that's really all that happened on SmackDown. We talked a little bit about KO, but that's kind of the same thing over and over. We're not going to do what SmackDown does and just keep regurgitating the same thing. We've all said it. We hate the fact that it's cookie cutter every week. So we'll move on to Raw. And first and foremost, you can't talk about Raw without talking about the monsters. You saw at the beginning of the show, you had Braun and Bronson still fighting apparently for the entire week. They traveled from Canada into California, continuing their fight. I guess they just battled through, like we've talked about, Godzilla and King Kong going down, destroying city after city on their way to
Wow.
California.
Yeah.
And we finally get it. I mean, I patted EC on the back. I'll pat myself on the back on this one. Last man standing match. It isn't at Bad Blood like I thought it was going to be. It is going to be next week on Raw.
Which is weird.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it would be on Bad Blood because I think it needs it. That needs to be just because of their feud. Mr. U, what do you think happens in the last man standing match, and are you excited for it?
I am excited for it. I don't really feel like it's a big deal that was on TV or on pay-per-view, because you got to have good matches on TV too. Somebody got to take the bullet. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's been hot crowds because of it, especially with the destructions being caused. So. It's working. I don't know what the numbers are, who's won how many matches against each other. I have no idea. Maybe you guys can enlighten me. But yeah, I'm excited about it. I feel like Bronson got to go over no matter what. Braun got to do the deal for Bronson, man. The man's hot. He should have been hotter than this coming out off of NXT. I feel like he was like hot then. I'm like, man, strap a rocket on this guy's back, let him go. But it kind of slowed things down. But yeah, Braun got to do the deal for Bronson, so Bronson can move on to, I would say, some kind of title picture based on where he is right now on Raw. Not sure how that's going to work. I guess now maybe it can work a little bit for the IC title, but we'll see though. But Bronson should go over in this match, I would think.
So point to that. I don't know if they've actually have they actually had an official match, or because I know the one a couple weeks ago ended up in the parking lot.
They had this couple. No,
I don't know that they've actually had an official match. They, like I said, they've had a lot of destroyed things in matches that they were supposed to have, but I don't think any of those matches actually had finishes. So this may be their first official match that will come to a finish. I guess it kind of has to. Well, last man standing, it kind of has to, unless both of them beat each other down so much neither one of them can get up. But Sped, what do you think about the match? What do you think happens?
Honestly, I think it's going to be Bronson Reed taking it over. Go ahead, Mr. U.
I just had a flash. When is Hell in a Cell?
Oh, there's no.
I don't know. I don't think they don't do a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view anymore. I think they're having a Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood.
Yeah.
But I think Triple H got rid of the actual Hell in a Cell pay-per-view so they could use it more sparingly throughout the year instead of just having just a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view.
Might be a good idea for these two guys. That's why I thought of it. Sorry, Spade. Go ahead, man.
Oh, you're good. No worries. Honestly, I was thinking a steel cage or a Hell in a Cell, but steel cage, someone would get thrown through, and it would be mayhem real quick. That's too much meat in the ring for a cage like that, But I think this match, man, this match has the makings of being a really good match on a pay-per-view if you gave it the time. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about the TV a lot of time because you're going to run through commercials. People are going to lose interest, with those, commercials and going through. Hell, you're going to see a lot of people going into Monday Night Football and then forgetting to go back because of that commercial break, So you're going to lose a lot of people off of that. But at the same time, I think this match has to be what you said, Bronson Reed taking the win because he's got to go on to something better after this. It's got to be the IC or somehow he gets traded over to SmackDown and goes after LA Knight in that United States title. I think he'd be the better heel to that face for the United States Championship.
Okay. And as far as the commercials, I mean, they do commercial-free hours all the time. They could give them an entire hour. They could let it kick off the show next week and have the first hour commercial-free. That way, I mean, I don't know that it should kick off the show. I think it should main event the show, but I mean, they could do that. I'm sure they've done the third hour before commercial-free. Do the last hour instead of the first hour. I'm sure they've done that before. They could always do that. But I mean, there are ways to do it without having to worry about the commercial breaks and all that, and just let them go. But definitely, I agree. I think Bronson should take the win. I think he should then go for the IC title and Jay. I mean, because if you look at how Bronson has kind of made his rise to prominence, he took out Seth Rollins, he took out R-Truth. Those are two of the fan favorites. Who's the fan favorite right now? Jey Uso. It makes sense for him to go after Jey Uso anyway once this is over. So I think, storyline wise, that makes sense. Now, whether he wins or not, that's going to kind of be up in the air. If they want to make Jay have such a short title reign, who knows? But that's definitely, and where you go with Braun after this, I'm not real sure, to be completely honest. I don't know if he just falls down back into the card somewhere.
He's going to get his rematch at Bad Blood, watch, and he's going to win it again. It's going to be like that. If it happens, you guys remember when Sasha versus Charlotte happened every other week for the title, and they were dropping the title for each other like that? It could go down like that. Yeah, a lot of people don't remember that, but it could have. I'm not saying that they're going to go back and forth like that, but they're in Atlanta. Kennesaw is literally right down the road from Atlanta, and they got a bunch of people there, so it could go. He's going to get his rematch. Everybody knows that's going to happen. How soon, we don't know. It could be that Saturday after he says, "Hey, I want my rematch. I got too cocky," or whatever, like he did with Sammy. That's what they were pretty much making it seem like. Every time he would get cocky, he would lose focus. So it looks like, hey, and if they do it like this, then this is how Jay gets involved with the bloodline stuff, with him dropping the title at Bad Blood because of the bloodline getting involved. If that's how it happens, if they do it.
That's I was getting ready to ask, how is that going to? Which way is the best route? You put the title back on Braun real quick. How does that make Jay look? If you let Jay retain, how does that make Braun look? This is a tight spot to be in. It almost made you not want Jay to get the title. I'm like, it's like, this is like Braun's will be sitting at 51 days or something, like 52 days. I'm like, wow, that's not the rocket that we were all expecting. Now with the cocky part, I mean, that's fine. It can build into a greater storyline, and he'll be dominant to the level that he'll just have have that going for him. Is he going to move off of that completely and move to the world title? I mean, what are we talking about here? So I'm just not really sure what's a good route for this situation, because Jay really, like I said before, took about 14 years in this. And hadn't had a singles championship, so it'd be hurtful to take it off of him in a matter of it'd be like, wow, that blows. I think the fans, I think they wouldn't swallow that very well. Just a general statement being made by me on that one, but
no, I get that. I do.
I don't know the answer here. I mean, you guys are booking it. What would you do? Because I don't know what I would do.
I don't know. It's tough, man. I mean, I kind of agree with you. You've waited so long. You've had such this payoff for him to finally win a singles title, just to lose it 2 weeks later just seems like
Crazy.
Kind of the biggest, you kick to the chest that you could get, and it takes all the air out of his fans, out of his push, and then I mean, at that point, is he limping back into the bloodline, or is he coming in as somebody who the bloodline needs at that point? I mean, it kind of messes that up a little bit. But there again, like you said, if Jay goes over again, if they have a rematch there, what does that do to Braun's momentum to where he was basically just being presented as this, not really monster, because we've got two monsters, in the other match we talked about, he was just kind of being built up so Jay could have his moment, is what it seems like.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's definitely a hard position to be in. I don't think you take the title back off Jay right now. I think him having that title gives him more credibility, even if he does come into the bloodline storyline, to where he's not limping into the bloodline, where Roman is almost like taking him back. Well, you couldn't get it done there. You had your little title shot for 2 weeks. Now come back home to where you belong. Let him come back as more of a conquering hero from Raw when he does finally make that comeback. I think makes a lot more sense in that storyline as well. So I really don't think you put it back on Braun, but the way Triple H does it, who knows, man? I mean, I never expected him to win it there. It would have been a very respectable loss if he'd have lost, on Raw, the way, especially the kickouts, everything else, the drama, the 2 counts, everything like that. It would have been very respectable for him to lose there, and he didn't. He wouldn't have lost any momentum there. But having him win it and say that, what's that?
So that referee on the one kick out, he hit 3 when Braun kicked out. That arm hit the ground. You saw it on replay. He hit ground and his arm bounced off the mat. I was like, damn, you can't call that.
I must have missed that guy, because I wondered at some point in the match, I heard them chanting, "Ref, you suck." And I was like, wait, what happened? Did I miss something? And apparently that's what I missed.
Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah.
I don't on this, but I just want to say this real quick. And we'll probably talk about it at some point in time. I know you guys are going to definitely talk about it. Some guys are just good at tag team wrestling, man.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's not.
But it's like when you try to make somebody. I know how this is going to sound like. I don't want to say it. I like Jey Uso, but it's like we try to make somebody do something that they normally don't do. It's weird. I look at the skill set. I mean, you've been in the game for a while. I mean, you need to have a different move set for the realm you're getting ready to go into. The tag team moveset ain't going to help you right now. It's just like it's when FTR is wrestling single matches, which happens every once in a while. You can see it. It's like they almost don't know what they're doing. They used to have the person lean off of you. I mean, you can't do Shatter Machine by yourself. You know what I'm saying? You got to have a single wrestler mindset, and he don't have it. He can't develop it right now. He don't have it, and it shows. And that match showed a lot. I'm like, I got the feeling he wasn't going to win. I'm like, this is not looking that great. Braun is just dominant. This is the person that's going to go over in this match, and then he went up like, and then on top of it, they cut the celebration short. Like,
yeah.
Well, and I don't think he was supposed to go up into the crowd, because with the pyro and everything, you couldn't see the pyro going off because he went up in the crowd. So I don't know if that was his mistake or what, but I think honestly, he got so excited that he went up in the crowd to yeet with everybody. And then the pyro goes off and the shot is completely the opposite direction of the pyro going off. So you don't see the pyro. So I think that was more on him just being excited and going up in there, and it just being a production issue because it didn't match up to what he did to what they thought he was going to do. But I mean, it's interesting that you put that, because it kind of brings me to my next point in the show. even though it happened earlier in the night, is that's kind of the same crisis of identity that Xavier Woods is going through right now. What is he without the New Day? That's kind of the way his character is going. And they've been teasing the New Day, maybe breaking up, maybe not. Now he's got this match with Rey Mysterio as a singles competitor, Monday night. Sped, where do you see that going? Do you think the New Day is finally close to breaking up, or do you think they'll get back together?
I would love to see Xavier Woods run a singles. I liked him in TNA by himself. I don't know if anybody remembers him in TNA, but he had a great
Austin
run.
Creed.
Austin Creed, thank you. I remember it was Creed. I just couldn't remember what the first name was.
Consequences Creed, Austin, yeah.
But the thing is this: he doesn't need Kofi. He's on the out. Kofi's on the out. And I'm not saying that Kofi's not going to be out there doing his thing. Kofi's out there doing his thing. He can still go and whatnot, but we don't believe he is a champion, a singles champion, like we did a few years back. All right. I think, and I hate to say it, the Brock Lesnar 30-second match, less than that, kind of derailed everything Kofi was going to do.
I'm still smarting from that one. Still, I feel that like, wow.
Oh man, they knew they messed up as soon as they did that. But I don't know. I want to see Xavier on his own. I think he could run the mid card. He could be a great addition to the mid card. All right, you could draft time, move him over to SmackDown, booster that mid card because we just talked about it. It's very thin. All right. I mean, who else is LA Knight going to go up against? LA Knight versus Andrade versus Mello. I mean, you could throw in Baron Corbin in there every now and again, but it's just the same four guys then just circulating, But so move them to the mid card, get them out of the Kofi area. That's going to be a great match because we always see when you see two friends go at it, they put on phenomenal promos and phenomenal matches. And that's what, that's the majority of the matches that we see. Michaels, those two went at it, great match, phenomenal promos, phenomenal match, Edge, Christian, same thing, and even the Hardy brothers, everyone who has great chemistry as a tag team usually puts on a great singles match together. And I'm hoping that's what we see here with Xavier when he turns.
Mr. Hugh, what do you think?
All right. I like the old days of Creed being solo. I see that's where they are kind of hinting at. I wonder that's going to happen. I think I want some other things to happen instead. This is going to be probably blasphemy to a lot of people who are big fans of New Day. I'd love to see them go heel together.
That'd be beautiful.
We ain't got to see no more bootios. Thank God we're done with that crap. But I would love to see them go heel together. I mean, it's something that Kofi has never experienced before. I know it's normal to try to pit them against each other. I think they can still do that in a couple of matches, but you know how that goes. Somebody comes in for the save, or comes into like Kofi coming for the save, and he ends up turning on people he was probably trying to save. You get it. But I think there's still room for some character development here. Have both of them go heel, turn the New Day into a heel team. I mean, they've done it in the past, but I kind of felt like it was
when it first came in.
Yeah, it lacked edge, in my opinion. It was still kind of unicorny, if you will, unicornish. It was
I like that.
kind of.
It's a good term.
I don't know where that came from. It's late, but I would love to see that happen. I think they can both do that. This reminds me of an old wrestler. I say old, I don't know where he's even working nowadays from TNA, but he's one of my favorites. Matter of fact, whenever I hear his music, I get chill bumps. I found him on YouTube the other day. You guys remember the Pope?
Yep. I used to love the Pope.
Google the Pope from TNA.
Not right now, after the show.
After the show. But yeah.
You got to be careful what you say around Sped. You've been here long enough. You got to be careful what you say around Sped.
My apologies. But this presents that kind of opportunity. I think that they can have that kind of fear. I'm talking about get rid of the colors, come to the ring wearing black. They ain't got to be part of the final participant, but they can be their own heel team, and I think it'd be pretty cool. The fans would will give it after a while because you see a more ruthless aggression, if you will, from the New Day, as opposed to all the poppy, tossing stuff into the crowd type of stuff. It's everybody always take that turn. The Rock did it. I don't know why New Day is going to be exempt. I think it's just time for, and when I say dark, I don't mean supernatural, Final Testament. I don't really care for that kind of stuff anymore. That's just my personal opinion. But with darker colors, kind of a more holding guys on 4 counts on the ropes, just pushing the rules to the limit, just a little bit more of an edge. I think that's where they should go with it.
So kind of what Xavier Woods has already done. He started coming out. He's worn black a few times, where Kofi's come out in bright colors just to kind of show that juxtaposition. Mm-hmm. So yeah, what you're saying is you want Kofi to kind of follow suit with that instead of them breaking apart.
In a surprise that nobody expects. People might say, "Oh, Kofi's down with us." It's like, "Oh no, he's still down with Woods." A surprise. You got a heel turn on whoever Woods is facing or whatever it is. Maybe a DIY. That'd be a good team to turn on. They could probably use some help right now. So, but yeah, something like that.
Right. Yeah, definitely. That's an interesting thing. With the New Day, it's always hard because, like you said, it's they've been talking about behind the scenes, maybe turning them heel ever since they stopped being heels at the beginning of the run because nobody really believed the heel in the first place. When they tried to be like the evil, over the top religious faction that they started out to be, is heels. I don't know, man. I personally would like to see Woods in a singles run. Just because I've always liked, I'm with you. I saw Consequences Creed in TNA, Austin Creed in TNA, and thought he was great. Before it was Truth and Consequences. Before that, I remember that. I remember that being a thing. But yeah, definitely. I mean, again, it's one of those things where it's creating a lot of different storylines within one. So at least we've got that. And the last thing I want to talk about with Raw, and I'm sorry, Mr. U, I've got to. I know this is probably the thing you've probably been waiting on the least.
I have not been waiting for this.
I can't leave Monday Night Raw with talking about the biggest announcement from Raw coming up on Bad Blood. Liv and Rhea with Sped's boy Dominic Mysterio in a shark cage. And we'll go to you first, Mr. U, just because I'll let Sped have his time at the end to talk about how it makes him feel. I think it'll be entertaining. I'm not sure how it affects the match in the end, but what do you think happens now that they've added that stipulation to the Women's World Championship match?
You see and make sure he all right. You worry about me. You just check on EC. But historically, those kind of matches, they usually fall on the side of the heel the majority of the time. The heel drops a key down or some nonsense like that. You know what I'm saying? Or something like that. But I kind of feel like they're trying to milk this for all it's worth. So I don't really see a title change happening. So I'm thinking that Liv is going to go over in this situation. I'd be surprised if anything else beside that happens. So as far as the stipulation goes, I'm like, okay. It's kind of an unnecessary thing because you still got 4 other people. How many? 3 other people?
3 or 4, something like that.
Yeah. That can still run outside of interference. You're talking about Carlito, Finn, and JD. I mean, they're still out there. You forgot about them. You put them in the cage too. I mean, if you put them all in the cage, then that would make sense. Put the entire Judgment Day in the shark cage. Then that makes sense. You're like, okay, now we got a bit of a fair fight. Now interference got to come from somebody else other than the obvious choices. So yeah, Liv goes over in this one. I don't think it's really a big shock here, but we'll see how it goes.
All right, Sped. How are you feeling about your boy being back, being locked up again? I know he had that stint in prison.
Hard time.
That part where he says, "I can't go back." Have me dying. He's like, "I don't want to go back. I can't go back." That crap had me dying. I just don't think like what Mr. U said. There's no point of this. There's no point of putting Dom in a spot where PTSD is going to come back. My man's going to have like a moment, And I'm not really. I don't know how to. Should I be invested in this match still? Like, or should we? Like, I know this is gonna happen again come WrestleMania. Either Liv being champion or Rhea being the champion at that time, and it's gonna happen again. That's how it's gonna end. Is that right there? The final match between those two, and that's where the Liv Morgan revenge tour ends. Which I thought that crap ended a while ago, but here we go.
It's not finished.
WWE has done a bad job of pushing this when Sped doesn't want to see Dominic Mysterio on the screen anymore, no matter how it is. So I guess it just kind of goes to show you that maybe they do need to wrap it up soon, if not at Bad Blood, and no later than the Royal Rumble, maybe.
Survivor Series, better be it.
Survivor Series, they're going to have the annual champion against champion match.
Yeah,
so it'll be Liv against probably Nia if she wins, maybe Bailey.
Liv.
And they've got history together too, so that could be
Liv and
be a part.
Listen, this championship run, and I don't mean to sound mean, but it has not made anyone think that Liv is a champion outside of a tag team champion, right? With Raquel Rodriguez, amazing, win tag titles like that. But single wise, it's like I really just don't care.
Okay, hold on. Wait a minute. There's room. I see. I got to jump in to defend Liv Morgan. I'm surprised that this is even happening. But there's room for that. I mean, right now she's in a faction.
Well, yes.
As long as you're in a faction, when you get in trouble, people are expecting to run in, and that's what's been happening. Now you got a boyfriend who's all on the sidelines for all of your matches. I mean, it's just classic outside interference stuff. We've seen it a million times, whether it's a manager or a boyfriend, like with Johnny Blank, because he changes his name every week. Johnny Blank and Taya Valkyrie. It's like she's out there. She's going to interfere. She's going to put her hands in that match. She's going to grab her foot when somebody's going off the relays. Something's going to happen, and you're going to be in. This is nothing normal, but I ain't going to discount her as a singles wrestler. I think this run has been good for her. I think we talked about it. I forgot what the pay-per-view was when she won the title, but we were talking about how it would be good for her. She needed to do this, especially when Rhea out. She needed to do this, so this was a good situation. I think she has. I'm not there, lady. This is one of the few times that I don't agree with you. I think that she has the ability to be a good single star. They got to put her in a position to do that. As long as Dom is in the picture with this back and forth stuff, it limits. It neutralizes what I think she can do. So she need to be in more matches, woman on woman matches, instead of the mixed tag team stuff with Damian and Rhea. Kind of, if you can get past this part, which I don't know how you do that unless you could keep the title on her and kind of move her past Rhea for a little while and have her have a different contender. If that happens, you get to see the Liv Morgan I think you all want to see. Somebody who's dominant as because Oblivion's an awesome move. I think this she had the ability to be a very strong singles competitor if given a chance. Right now in this fashion thing, ain't a whole lot she can do. She's facing Rhea all the time, and that's like, what do you expect to see? I mean, it's just her and Rhea. She's not having no defenses against anybody else right now. Not that I can unless I missed one the past few weeks. I haven't. It's just been her coming on the mic talking. And Judgment Day running in and beating down Damian and Rhea, which has been what I've been seeing the past few weeks. She ain't been in no matches, no title defenses. So just pump the brake. Don't tear her down. Just give her a chance to have some singles matches under her belt, which they haven't done. That's creative, completely. Give her some title matches. Let her get her feet wet. Because right now she's just walking out with high heels. She ain't ready to wrestle. So just give her a chance to do that. Let creative fix this mess, and I think it'd be better. You like what you're seeing.
And I'll go back to Lady Alpha's point here. Remember with Rhea's title run before she got hurt, before she turned face, he was in the exact same position Liv was in, where Dom was helping her win title matches. So I wouldn't necessarily say that. You think about the stuff where she beat Zelina Vega, in her second or third title defense, just like Liv did. It was the whole Ray and Dom thing because Ray and them would get involved with Dominic and them, and it was still interference and still Rhea winning, but nobody said that about Rhea. Nobody said, well, you're not a real champion because Dom's helping you win. They understood it was part of the story. And that's not a shot at you, Lady Alpha. I've heard the same sentiment a lot in the internet and things like that. But Rhea's run with the championship originally wasn't a whole lot different than what Liv's is now. And that's one of the things that they're using to further the story is she's following Rhea Ripley's path, but getting much different reactions, which is interesting to me.
Then you got to understand too that you're talking about two different people. They're both female wrestlers, but they're different moves, that kind of stuff. Because Rhea was dominating people and winning. I mean, I was surprised that she beat Raquel, but she was dominating people. And she was picking up these big people hitting with the riptide. It was happening. You know what I'm saying? Liv is not that kind of wrestler, so you can't look for that kind of thing. It's not an apples and oranges, more like apples and pomegranates. It's not an apples to orange comparison. You can't compare the two of them. She's not going to win like that. She's going to do some underhanded stuff. She's going to try to outsmart you, and that's why they emphasize her being smarter than Rhea, because that's what her that's in her wheelhouse. You got to lean into that because she's not stronger than Rhea. So you got to go with the smarter part. So they just give her a little time to do her little dastardly deeds and underhanded stuff because she's much smaller than her competitor. She got to do that. What
exactly. And that's what I'll say, Lady Alpha. That's what we're here for. That's what your Thursday night tag team. That's what our show's for, is to kind of bring you up to speed to the things that maybe you weren't here for. That obviously, I know you're new back to wrestling in the past year or so. So, but I mean, it was very similar to that. But I mean, you're completely valid in the way you feel now because that's the way they want you to feel. You're supposed to not think very highly of Liv because of her character and things like that. So they've done their job there. So that definitely was. I promise that wasn't a shot at you there or anything like that. And Herb likes your pomegranate reference. Anytime you can work pomegranate into it, you automatically won. So good job there. Moving on to NXT, because did you guys have anything else from Raw that you guys had before we move on? That's really the only main things I thought.
I like the low rider.
I did like that. That was a good callback to Eddie Guerrero. So that was a good spot. I was going to let you bring that up. I wasn't going to bring it up because even though I did like it, because I almost brought it up when we talked about Braun and Bronson because it happened right before that. I almost mentioned it there, but I left it out just so you could bring it up. So we'll move on to NXT. Big night coming up next week for NXT. You had everything in NXT. You had the press conference. You had everything like that leads into next week, which is the premiere on the CW network. And then Herb always stirring the pot. Always stirring the pot.
No.
Pretty much everything in NXT leads up to next week, and I don't have a graphic for the matches because I haven't seen one. They don't really have individual matches promoted, but these are some of the things that will happen next week when NXT debuts on the CW. A lot of this, they announced the Jada Parker Lola Vice tag team match against Fatal Influence. I don't really. That doesn't really do a whole lot for me. Either one of you guys.
Nah.
Me either. I mean, I'm excited about Oba Femi and Tony D'Angelo being on Miz TV just to further that story. I'm really afraid the way they're building this up that Tony D'Angelo is going to win, giving him the Rocky treatment. I'm still going to support my boy Oba and say he's going to win next week, but I am more scared now than I ever have been. Mr. Yu, I know you've been a big fan of Oba. Do you think he wins next week?
I think it's going to be D'Angelo going over at some point in time. I think my concern is like, what do you do with Oba? Because calling him up, I just feel like you're doing the same thing we've been talking about that you probably shouldn't be doing right now, and that's depleting your roster of talent. So if he goes over, it's the kind of deal almost like with Keith Lee, where he starts putting himself into the world title picture. If that happens, that's fine by me. I'm totally cool with that. Let D'Angelo win. I can't see him winning in dominant fashion. I'm not going to buy that. I'm sorry. but go ahead and let him win. If Oba feels like, it's time to move on to the world title picture, that's a good situation. I think that the world title picture could use it. You know what I'm saying? No offense to Ethan Page, but could you imagine Oba as the NXT champion? For me, my dream was to have him have both titles and then drop the other title, but I don't know if that's going to happen now. But yeah, so as long as Oba stays on the roster, not getting called up, I'm cool with this.
Sped, what do you think?
I don't think this match finishes the way you guys think it will
Okay.
when it goes down. I think this match goes to Halloween Havoc. All right. I think this match does go to a pay-per-view. These are two guys that they're both big on. And what you do after Halloween Havoc is set Oba up to be that monster going after the NXT championship. Yeah, I think this is where, and you're right when you say it, they're giving him the Rocky treatment. I think that's what's about to happen. They're going to be in PA. All right, best spot to do it. They're in PA. I mean, he's not going to get the whole, Adrian treatment in Philly, but he can get the Hershey Kiss treatment or the Hershey chocolate treatment out here in Hershey, winning the NXT title at Halloween Havoc instead of just. I get it. They're going to CW and whatnot, but I see it going to Halloween Havoc versus a clear winner on a CW.
I mean, you say he's not going to get the Adrian treatment, but isn't Rizzo's first name Adriana? Isn't it Adriana Rizzo who's in the family?
That's true.
I mean, everything else has been. And I'd love to say that they have been sprinkling seeds of Rocky in it, but it's kind of been hitting you in the face with the "Hey, I'm afraid promo." Now you've got the training montage. Like you said, you're in PA there. I mean, it kind of hits you upside the head with it. So maybe he does, at the end say, "I did it, Adriana," or something like that. That's why it scares me. It fits way too easy. It just scares me.
It does. You know what? It would be great if they gave everyone a plate of spaghetti after Tony D wins in Hershey. That'd be amazing. My whole night would be great after that.
Moving on, though, we won't worry about talking about the tag team champions. They're just there for an appearance. I doubt they have a match that night. It may lead to something in St. Louis the week after. Who knows what's going to happen there? The street fight between Wesley and Zachary Wentz. You had that very scathing promo between them on NXT this week. Sped. What do you see going down? What did there? Do you think Wesley finally gets his win back, or do you think Zachary takes it?
This is where Wesley gets his win. They gave Zach his moment in the last pay-per-view. I mean, they gave it the shine with the X division and everything. So this is where Wesley gets his revenge. He gets his W. And hopefully we're about to be done with this. Wesley should be going after something. Maybe Ethan Page would be a great match for him, but I think the whole TNA NXT, if you're going to collab them together, let's get other things going with that instead of the same old thing each and every week now.
Yep. Mr. U?
I don't know what they're going to do with this. I mean, I get the TNA crossover and stuff. It's like, can Zach Wentz actually go after a title in NXT and Wesley not be involved in this match? I'm trying to figure out is that how it's going to work? Because I just don't see a scenario where that actually happens. So is this really actually over? They keep saying this is the end. Okay, this is the end, and Zach Wentz must be staying in TNA and not coming back over here for a while because they can't be the end. He comes out here trying to compete in matches that matter. Because I mean, at some point you got to try to put him either in a tag team match when Trey Miguel gets back, or because the single thing, you're inviting Wesley back into your life by going after the singles title in the place where he wrestles full time. So I don't know what this is going to be, but excited to see what turns out with this. But I have no idea right now.
All right, moving right along, the NXT Women's Championship. We saw them close the show, Roxanne and Julia with the press conference. The surprise appearance at the very end by Stephanie Vacour with the last statement saying that she's coming after whoever wins. Mr. U, who do you think that is? Do you think it's Roxanne? Do you think Julia takes her and we get that match, or do you think Roxanne may keep the belt?
Just ready for a nice little three-way. That's what you want anyway, ain't it? That's what That's what this. It seems it just continues to be this way. Every time you got somebody who is three competitors talking about the same title, can't help themselves. They have somebody wait in line while they sort that thing out. But I felt like this would be the time for Julia to drop for Roxanne to drop the title. A lot of people on my timeline are saying no, they think that she's going to retain. A certain person who's on this show, but not here presently right now, feels the same way. Julia just got there too. I'm just trying to wonder how did this work? I'm gonna go with Julia because I think it'd be the most chaos in this match, and I'm always down for that. And it'll give Roxanne a chance to chase for a little while. I don't know, because the whole with Stephanie part, there's no way it's not going to be a three-way match in this somewhere. There's just no way. She's waiting for the winner, but there's no way that if Roxanne's the loser, she's going to be sitting around quietly while they have a match together. I just don't see it. So we're talking about a three-way dance. It's probably a good one. It's an awesome matchmaker series right there, which is just with the three of them, you know. But I'm gonna go with Julia on this one.
All right, Sped.
I'm gonna go with the three-way because of the pay-per-view that's right around the corner. Okay.
Wow, right? This match right here, man.
I understand that. I think this might. Look, I don't know how they get into it, but somehow, some way, all three of these ladies are going to be fighting at Halloween Havoc for that title, and I don't know how they're going to get to it, but that I could just see someone coming out or messing it up. You know, I don't know. It's just I see a three-way happening. It's just hard because I don't see Roxanne losing. But I also don't see Julia losing her debut match. It's just, like I said, it's hard to determine this because then you got Cora in the background waiting for everyone else. So it's like, man, where are you going with this? You know, I think somehow, some way they get a triple threat between the three women, and it's going to be at the pay-per-view.
So I think the outcome is the same. I think how we get there is not necessarily. I think Julia wins. I think Stephanie Vacour's already called out the winner. She comes out maybe the next week in St. Louis or maybe a week or two down the road before Halloween Havoc, and then she says, "Hey, look, I called you out. I want a shot." Roxanne says, "But I want a rematch. I'm the title. I just lost." I think you get to your triple threat maybe that way, as opposed to not having a finish here. I know it's kind of backing yourself into a corner, but I don't see that there's any way that you don't give Julia the win. You've heard the report, or I've heard the reports. I don't know if you guys have or not, that they want Julia to be the face of NXT for a little bit between her and Stephanie Vacour. So I think they let her win here, let her get that momentum, go into a triple threat, and then maybe that's Roxanne's farewell match to NXT. Maybe at Halloween Havoc, then she goes into the Rumble and does whatever there and starts going, making her way to the main roster. Then you can have Cora come in to kind of bolster NXT up with her leaving. There's a lot of ways you could do it, but I think Julia wins the match. Which, last match on the card, CM Punk has been added in as the guest referee because, according to him, this is the most important match in NXT history and who leads the brand into the next generation going into the CW, which is why he feels like he should be the referee between Ethan Page and Trick Williams. Mr. Yu, do you think it's all ego and NX me, or do you think it's, we go back to the whoop that era?
Gosh, those choices don't sound great. There's no option C?
Right now, no. Until you bring something along, like you've talked about, maybe Obafemi moves up into the title picture after this match with whoever wins. Maybe that's where it goes next. But no, right now that's kind of your choices. I don't see Joe Hendry coming back into the picture.
Oh God, no. Okay, that's what we don't want more than anything in this world. I'm sorry. Wow. Oh boy. So the overmatch is not happening on October 1st.
That's happening next week in St. Louis. They're just doing a promo for it again.
Okay.
You need to think about you here. Well, let's Sped, you go while Mr. U thinks about it. What do you think will happen?
First, I think, and you guys are probably going to laugh at this, but I think Adam Cole and Pat McAfee have more of a real fight feel than this whole match right here does, in my book. You know, like Ethan Page, Trick Williams does not need a CM Punk. They can get a real referee. This could go down like that. But I get Chicago. You know, you got to put them on the show somehow.
Yeah.
Now, as for is it NX me or Whip That era, it's gonna stay the ego era in my book. You know, I know EC keeps saying, "Oh, it's about to end. It's about to end." I don't see it ending right now until Oba comes into the NXT Championship picture, and then that's just where Oba runs through like he did with the mid card. But right now, it's just gonna be Ethan Page again. I get why they did it, but I honestly don't think you needed a CM Punk in this match. Maybe the Roxanne Perez match that would have been perfect for him in because of the whole promo that they had between him and her. What was it, last week? I thought that was pretty cool. But still, you know, it's still going to stay the ego. They're pretty much rubbing this in AEW's face, saying this guy can produce, and that you guys missed it on this guy. Yeah, that's the way it looks like. You know, keeping this dude champion like this.
All right, Mr. Yu, do you have a chance to compose your thoughts?
So Oba and D'Angelo fighting on the 8th. So that's a week after.
The next week in St. Louis, yeah.
That's a week after this. Okay. I'm going with Ethan Page too.
Yeah, I think the same thing. I think it's going to be Ethan Page. I wasn't real thrilled with Trick's title run anyway. I think Ethan brings a little bit more character work to it. I think it's a little bit more of a widespread character that he could do more things with different people. So I think, and plus, you know, Oba Femi, if he comes up, I'd rather see him beat up Ethan Page than Trick Williams. Just because I think that sounds better.
Yeah.
But moving on, we won't go into a whole lot of Grand Slam because it is still ongoing. The rest of half of the card was Wednesday night. The other half is on Saturday on Collision. I will ask you, of the matches you saw last night, Mr. Yu, what match stood out to you, and what match was your favorite of the night?
I missed some of the tag match. I did get to see the majority of it, but I missed some of it. But I saw almost every match that they had on here. The leadoff match, Brian and Nigel. Gosh, I was so impressed. Nigel McGuinness, man, looked good, man. He looked really good. I'm like, I almost had some Desmond Wolfe flashbacks for a little bit. I'm like, oh wow, this guy still got teenage dropped the ball in him so bad. That's a whole other story. That's separate. But man, it was really good. I hate to see him not being in the match in wrestling anymore. But after the way it ended, that probably was the end, just that quick. But that was the match of the night, in my opinion. I know people might say Mox and Darby, but wow, this match was definitely the one for me from a wrestling standpoint.
Yep, Sped, do you agree? What do you think was the match of the night?
Well, I agree that match was phenomenal. I talked to you off camera about this, saying that, you know, it was Nigel's first match in 13 years, I think it was. And yes, it seemed like he had some hiccups to start it, right? But I mean, he progressed throughout the match. Like I said, throughout the match, it just progressed very well all the way through. I like that match. But that tag match, Ospreay keeps blowing my ever-loving mind anytime I watch this dude. It was a fantastic display of tag team wrestling. I'm looking at my other screen because that's where my notes are right now. So I'm not trying to go word for word on it. But it was a fantastic. The Bucks have chemistry with almost everyone in that. I say the Bucks are not that great. Everyone that they have fought so far, if you go back and watch, a lot of them has been great matches this year. for those titles. All right. And you can't, and you put your personal feelings aside and everything. That's why I'm picking this match. So I can show you guys. I'm putting personal feelings aside about these guys. All right.
You're so benevolent, sir.
Thank you. But I liked how Ospreay refused to let Fletcher hit the use the screwdriver, and then told Don Callis to go F off. You know, I thought that was a great little side story that was going on there. Overall, I thought it was one of the better matches of the night. You know, it wasn't up there with the Bryan Danielson match, and I just never understood why they had the Darby Allin win if he was gonna fight for his chances to keep it, but whatever. That was a great match. I wish you would have watched the whole thing because you would have liked the ending. And I thought the tag match was really phenomenal.
No, I saw it.
Okay, I thought you said
there were some parts in the beginning that I didn't catch that. I was driving.
No, roger that.
Yeah, but I saw the ending with the screwdriver. I'm like, hope Fletcher's not going to turn on Ospreay. Like, please don't. I really like them together. I like what they got going on. Please don't mess this up. But I was nervous about it. He turned him around and he had a screwdriver in his hand. I'm like, oh no. I was about to get that bad beat, but it didn't happen this time. But nervous.
So although I don't like how we got to the match, I really liked the Moxley Darby Allin match. It told a really good story. Again, I don't like that Darby Allin had to put up his title shot just because I think that makes him look dumb, to be completely honest.
Bad. Yeah.
But the match itself was really good. The angle at the end, I like the callback to the Justin Roberts with the tie when Bryan Danielson ran in and attacked Moxley at the end of the match. Anytime you can get to those guys, and bring them into a match at Wrestle Dream, it's hard to go against that. But and the reason I don't go with Danielson and McGinnis, because you guys have talked about it, that was a great match. I loved that match as well. But just to give a little bit of a difference of opinion, I wanted to talk about the Moxley and Allen, which was a really good match. Again, Darby Allin's crazy, for lack of a better term. He's just crazy. And throw him in there with Moxley.
Would you like that? What if Darby messes up the Moxley's title match?
That'd be amazing.
No, because it still makes him look stupid. I mean, that just makes him look like he's getting revenge on the fact that he was dumb in the first place and put up the title shot in the beginning. I mean, there was no reason for him to put the title shot on the line for that match. If you want a match with me, we'll have a match. But then I'm going to go challenge for the title, whether I beat you or not.
I'm with you.
Can we talk about how we finally got rid of the FTW championship?
Yep. That is another highlight that I saw. Finally retiring it, hand it back to Taz. I'm glad Hook won. We don't have to worry about that title now. Maybe he can go on to maybe the international or the continental title and challenge for that. Mr. U, what do you think about that? Was that part of the show you didn't get a chance to see?
No, I saw that too. I'm like, well, I saw part of the Hook match. I was still driving into. I'm not. Was last week? I think it was. If the title was like, just like, go do something else. This was nice for nostalgia. Go ahead, go after a different title. Let's do something else here. I don't feel like the title is elevating Hook in the way that you want to when you allow him to come in so high. Like just awesome talent, which he is, awesome wrestling skills, which he does have, the ability to be dominant in different spots. Give me a shot at a different title that actually matters. The FTW title, people talk about, I want to challenge you for that title, Hook. I'm like, it's almost laughable. It's like, really? Roderick Strong can get all kinds of titles or get in title matches. Do you want to challenge him for the FTW title? Like, seriously? It's a joke.
Well, then that's why I'm glad they finally retired it. He officially announced, handed it back to Taz. It's done. It's over with. We won't see it anymore. So I'm in agreement with you. He should have been done after he beat Jericho. As soon as he got the title back, he should have handed it to his dad and ended it right then and there. But they had this last one, I guess, because it's in New York. Maybe they wanted to do it in where Taz is from, where he's from in New York. do it in his hometown to give it a little bit extra meaning to Taz, maybe. So I get that part, but yeah, it should have been going a long time ago. Let Hook move on, let Roderick Strong move on, and go on to bigger and better things. And hopefully, again, we'll finish that discussion for Grand Slam next week, because the rest of it does not officially happen until Saturday, even though it was taped. I haven't seen spoilers for it yet, which is good. But it won't air until Saturday night on Collision. We'll finish our discussion there. We do have predictions that we posted on Twitter. So if you want to go take a look at those predictions, see how we did. Sped, yep. Did you have something?
Hey, to everyone who used that link to go to the AEW Dynamite and to watch Collision as well, thank you guys. That helped me out a lot. It gave me a lot of coins so I can put it in to go watch try to go watch the Commanders play Cowboys on the 24th of November.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Whenever you see Spedrock 4 at SP3DROCK4 on Twitter, if you see anything like that, make sure you're clicking on the links, helping him out. Mr. U, they call me Mr. U. We're not into the show yet, but I figured since I was running his, I'll run yours too. You see mine on the screen at Big Mike 27 or at _ Big Mike 27. We'll and look, we can't. I thought about cutting it, but we won't cut it. I do want to talk at least about the first 2 episodes, because I know, Sped, that's all you've had the chance to see. We'll have a full discussion at a later date about the Mr. McMahon documentary. So the first 2 episodes, if I remember right, because I have seen more than that, I'm trying to think where episode 2 ends. Maybe that ends right there at WrestleMania. WrestleMania 3, something like that. Mr. Sped, what did you think about the first 2 episodes? Did you learn anything new? Anything like that?
I didn't know, and it's probably because I was too young, but I didn't know at the time that he was in all that legal mumbo jumbo about steroids before the WCW, merger and stuff. I didn't know that I was a kid during that era. So I didn't know that he was in that legal mumbo jumbo. I remember hearing my parents tell me that Vince might be a real dirty guy. And you don't trust a dirty guy like that or whatever. But
there's more.
I went through and I watched the screw job part. Like I said, I was very invested in the whole Montreal screw job, so I wanted to know more about that. But the beginning where he said, "I can't tell you everything, but I'll tell you what you want. I want you to hear." It's one of those like, "Oh, okay. What else has he done?" Like, what else are you holding back now? And it makes you think, is all the stuff that was being said a few years ago with Brock Lesnar's name and mentioned into it, is that all true? But I did like how he got Andre to come back out of retirement to do WrestleMania 3. I think it was 3. And how they lied so hard about Hogan not beating Andre or Andre being undefeated. I thought that was fantastic too. I was like, that's what you do. But overall, I thought this was a good documentary. And I want to go on and watch more. Is there more coming out after this though?
Well, there's 6 episodes. All 6 episodes are out now.
Okay. Is there any more coming of that or no?
Not as of yet that I've heard. Once the legal stuff gets wrapped up, they may come back with an episode or 2 just for that conclusion. You'll see some of it, when you finish watching the rest of it.
Yeah.
Mr. U, I know you saw it as well. But they may hold off until the end of the legal proceedings and all that until they come out with anything else. But Mr. U, just trying to think back to the first 2 episodes specifically. Did you learn anything new? I know you've watched it a little bit longer than we have. Is there anything that surprised you in there from the early days of WWE or WWF?
No, I didn't. I wasn't shocked by anything really. I seen some of the steroids. I was aware of it. I didn't know about the what they call them. There's a term for them. This is not it, but it's all I can think of. The ring boys.
Oh that was crazy.
I thought the same thing. That's 100% the term. The ring boys.
That was nuts.
I didn't know about that at all. I heard about Pat Patterson probably about maybe 5 or 6 years ago, maybe something around that area. I didn't know anything about the ring boys. The guy I forgot his name, but I had no idea about that.
That was crazy.
That was going on, and that's the kind of thing that when you hear that kind of thing, this thing is. It's might even posted on Twitter, so I totally agree. This was tailored toward casual fans of wrestling. You got to watch this a certain way. You can't watch this as a die-hard wrestling fan. It's not going to help you. You got to take your mind out of it and listen to this as a neutral observer to this.
Yep.
And documentary it'll make more sense to you. It'll be more enlightening that way. If you're just a fan seeing all your old favorites, you're going to geek out and you're not going to catch the fullness of what this whole thing is all about. Because this is about power. This is about influence. This is about a machine that, and it's there's 1,000 examples in the world around us of stuff just like this, where things go on to such a degree that either people don't know about it all the way up at the top, or it's not something that they care to deal with. So it has somebody trying to handle it, and this is what you get. That Ring Boys thing was messed up.
Yeah, it was very messed up.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's the kind of thing, man.
Yeah, as I think back to the first 2 episodes, that from the wrestling side point or the wrestling standpoint, that's really the only thing new I learned. I knew about steroids. I knew about all the other big scandals per se that has been there through the wrestling. I will tell you the other part that I've learned that I've never heard before was about McMahon being abused as a child. Him growing up, his stepfather abusing him, his mother supposedly abusing him. You know, that's the part I didn't know, which, you know, I mean, obviously living through that and hearing in Sped, I know you didn't see exactly all of this part because he talks about it a little bit later on. So it's not necessarily spoilers, but you know, he mentions, you know, how he dealt with it, things like that, or, you know, how he got through it, which, I mean, that's part of it that I didn't know beforehand that kind of opens it up more of a personal side but definitely that and the Ring Boys, I definitely didn't know that again, because I was younger there, you know, even with you, Mr. You didn't know about it, which is very surprising because it's a lot of the same style of accusations that are going on now.
Yeah.
As far as you know, sexual abuse behind the scenes, things like that, which, you know, we won't get into because I don't like talking about it, to be completely honest. But I mean, well, I'm just personally, I don't like talking about it. I mean, that's
well,
just
no, I get that. No, I get that 100%.
But
we good. Yeah.
So, but that's the main thing I learned from the first 2 episodes. I do think it's a great watch, and I agree with you, Mr. Yu. This isn't if you're, you know, fans of the wrestling business for 20, 30, 40 years like we've been, you're not going to learn a ton, especially after those first 2 episodes, because it's just kind of going over what we already know. This is made, like Mr. Yu said, for the people who haven't watched it for 20 years. Somebody like, and I know she had to check out because I saw her in the comments, somebody like Lady Alpha who hasn't watched in a while would learn a lot from this documentary. If you've gotten out of the business and come back, or if you've never been a part of the business, you will learn a ton in this. And I don't know that it's always good. Obviously, you know, you do learn some of the good stuff they've done, but also some of the really bad stuff that they've done as well. Mm-hmm. But it's definitely worth a watch, whether you've been a wrestling fan or not. I definitely would say go watch it. We will have a further in-depth discussion either on next Thursday's show, or we may do a special show where we talk about nothing but the documentary and just go over all of it. I have not decided yet. We'll discuss that. But we'll definitely talk about the rest of it going forward once, you know, everybody has a chance to watch all of it. But it's definitely worth the watch. I would agree 100% with that. It is 100% worth the watch. And just because we're already at an hour 18, we will push the Matchmaker series until next week. Just for a preview for everybody, it is a Luchador edition. For next time, and hopefully everybody will give their comments and let us know what we think is going to happen there. But I do want to push it because with it being time, I do want to make the announcement that Herb mentioned earlier, that it's kind of a I'm trying to think of the word, bittersweet show. This is the last show for now. He is always welcome to come back. He always has an invite. He is still part of the family. He is the person that you know had this idea and kind of got us all together. Mr. Yu, this is his last show with us. You've seen me post on on Twitter that the show will be moving from the They Call Me Mr. U network YouTube over to the Run-In podcast, the Run-In Wrestling podcast. You can search at _Big Mike 27 to find us there if you want to follow us there. So we will be there. It'll be on my X. It'll be on Facebook, everything like that. But I mean, I just want to say thank you, Mr. U, for getting us started. As somebody who's wanted to do this for a while, you gave me the invite to come in here and start this, and hopefully I can take it from here and make you proud. We're still going to have the same, content that you guys have. Oh, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. But again, the invite's always there for you to come back anytime you want. All you got to do is say the word. That will always be there. I'll let Sped say something, and I'll let you kind of close the show with your thoughts going from there. But I want to end my term saying this, say thank you.
My pleasure, man.
That's all I was going to say, man. Thank you for bringing me on here. And, man, I hope you come back, real soon, honestly. I'm going to miss you. I even put it on my little bottom bar right here. We'll miss you, big man.
Yeah, without question. I asked Mike, I said that things got to change, so I'm trying to get emotional about all of this stuff here. But this is a wrestling show, not a person crying on TV show. But yeah, what I want to do is I want to try to just drop back in on you guys. Maybe we can do it when you guys have pay-per-view reviews and stuff. Since I'm still watching those, I probably will watch a little bit less of the weekly stuff. I'm a fan, so I'm still going to watch it, but maybe not. I can't guarantee I'll watch as much as you guys are going to see. With the pay-per-views, I'll probably be all in on those. The ones that I can be in, I can see. Like AEW, I can't see those, obviously. We're not at that place yet. But I'll try to drop in and do reviews with you guys and that kind of stuff. Maybe I can send you some predictions by text. I'm still here. I got to just focus on other stuff. I got to definitely put a lot more emphasis into the Thursday night thing. I've neglected it a little bit. So I got to build that a lot more. So I'm still working in that regard, and I'm doing a little bit less social media. Having some challenges with censorship and some other things with the show. So I'm trying to find out how to promote the brand without, violating somebody's rules. So just a lot of little things going on. Plus personal stuff. I'm doing a lot more ministry now. So my workload has increased exponentially. So it was necessary to do that, but I'm glad. I'm really grateful. It does my heart good to see that in some small way, I get to help somebody accomplish what, a goal that they have. And you guys, both of you have kind of expressed that was something you really want to do. And man, you know what? You're knocking it out of the park. You're killing it. You're doing exactly what you said you want to do. I meet people all the time, even in my former coaching background. People say, "Oh, I want to do this," and you help them do it, and it's like, they don't take it nowhere. They drop the ball, they forget about it, they get lazy with it. But you guys are the total opposites of that, man. You live and breathe this thing, and this ain't all you can be doing. You can be doing football, you can be doing baseball, you can do a whole bunch of stuff. You guys got that kind of talent in you. So I'm excited to just be a part of what you guys are doing. I'm glad I had the opportunity to even have somewhat of a small platform that you guys can be on and do something. I'm fortunate to kind of help you get there. So this is a big deal for me too, man. You guys are incredible personalities. You guys do great on the air, on the mic. Mike, you don't even know, man, how proud I am of you, man. You're afraid to be on TV. Well, I said TV. I don't know. Whatever. You're afraid to be on the internet.
I'm sure somebody's watching it on the TV somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, you were concerned about that, man, and you seamlessly, and I mean that without any kind of hyperbole, you seamlessly jumped into that, man, and you did it, man. Spade, you were talking about it for a little while about doing some stuff, man, and look at you, man. You got your Twitch back up, man. You're doing stuff, man. I'm proud of y'all, man. So I'm just excited to have been a part of this, man, and I'm glad you got to, don't mind me popping in once in a while to talk wrestling with y'all, man. I'm gonna make sure I can do that whenever I can get freed up. But thank y'all again.
And anytime, sure, man. And again, stay tuned. Like I said, at _Big Mike 27 is going to be the new YouTube page. X, follow Spedrock, Sped3, SP3DROCK4. Still continue to follow at They Call Me Mr. U, because obviously we still support him. We still love him. He's still part of the family, even though he's in our hearts. He may not be on your screens, but he's still in our hearts.
Yeah, 7 o'clock. I know what it means. If I don't see y'all Thursdays, if I don't see y'all in the comment section, that tells me that this is over. That's what goes. I'm just kidding. Thank y'all.
But definitely tune in. We're not changing times. There are big things coming for the channel. in the show that we will announce in the near future. But until next week, Sped, I'll see you next week. Hopefully, Mr. U will see you in the comments. But man, keep doing what you're doing big things, and we love you, man. Thank you. Have a great night, everybody.
Awesome job.